If you have a video that is getting traction, do not, I repeat, do not put any type of ad behind it.
If you understand marketing, it's just putting it and making it work.
I'm not a creator. I'm a business person. I want to leverage this as a channel.
As soon as you lose sight of who the target market is and what they actually find valuable, no marketing will work at all.
And my rule is I'm going to produce.
Today's guest is an OG of marketing. He's an entrepreneur, author, and investor. And according to Shark Tank star Daymond John, his companies practically own the internet. He has invested $823 million in paid advertising and generated 378,650 new leads in the last 36 months alone. But today he's going to be sharing with us his YouTube binge strategy, getting him $5.23 cost per leads. Mr. Ryan Deiss, welcome to the Masters of Lead Generation podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be here.
Excellent. And so I have a full stack interrogation for you today. And let's first get tactical and start with this YouTube binge strategy. And you can explain what it is and how it works, and then I'll have some follow-up questions. But the numbers that you sent through to me are pretty exciting. It's 8,032 leads per month at a $5.23 CPL, cost per lead, and an 886% return on ad spend. I would like to know more. Please, sir, tell me more.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it, that's what it was after the first 60 days. They've actually gotten a little better. And I would have expected at scale for them to get a little worse. But this is one of the few strategies that actually has gotten a little better over time, and I can get into why that is. So we're actually now we've way more than doubled our ad spend on this. I wish, frankly, we could spend a little bit more, but that's kind of one of the limitations of this. But yeah, so I mean, in terms of the channel, YouTube, I think everybody knows is kind of a big deal, has been for a little while, but we've really struggled. It's not a channel that we've been able to make inroads on across any of our companies. I mean, this has just been a place where we've just kind of sucked. We've been able to make some retargeting work across some of our, different businesses and pre-roll ads and things like that, but it was never more than, 3, 4, 5% of our total ad spend. It never represented anything of any real significance. And similarly, on the organic side, I never wanted to put forth much of an effort on YouTube because I don't know about you. I mean, you do a lot of stuff now on YouTube. I see you all over the place. Like, you do a great job, but it's a pain in the butt.
It's a pain in
the
butt.
I mean, have you found that? Like, do you really love it, YouTube?
So the thing is, I love teaching, and I always thought I would be a teacher. So it's like, this is like my path of teaching people and doing it. But yesterday I was writing scripts and I had a little bitch moment where I was like, I don't want to be a content creator. I'm trying to run a multi-7-figure business. And yeah, it can feel like a huge pain in the butt. And sometimes the effort you put in, you're not rewarded for as well.
Yeah, and so I was the same place. I've had so many false starts on YouTube because I do like to teach, but sometimes I don't have anything to talk about, right? And so this need to be on this constant hamster wheel, and that's what everybody has always told me is, look, if you're going to be on YouTube, then you got to go pro. Like, I remember I was like, all right, I decided I was going to make this commitment at the end of 2023. Like, my New Year's resolution is I'm going all in on YouTube. And so I called up, a bunch of buddies who have million+ accounts. And I'm like, tell me your secret. What do I need to do? Doing it. And that's what I kept hearing over and over again. You got to go all in. You got to go pro. I'm like, all right, well, what does that mean? It's like, all right, well, you need to have this video crew and they need to be following you around. You need to be producing content all day. And it's basically reality TV of your life. You need this. And I'm like, stop. No. Kill me. My wife will divorce me. Like, there's no way I'm doing any of this nonsense. Like, that's not what I want to do. I'm not a creator. I'm a business person. Like, I'm trying to run companies. I want to leverage this as a channel. And so I set out to say, I've got a rule. And my rule is I'm going to produce one video a week, except when I don't. That was my rule. I'm going to produce a video a week, except on the weeks that I don't. And I've got to figure out a way to make it work. And so when I was looking around and talking to other people, I found that there was this other strategy that we were able to deploy. And that's what made this whole thing work. And it is leveraging ads, because what you can do is you can either go all in and give the algorithm exactly what it wants, or you can juice the algorithm with a paid ad strategy. And so that's exactly what we were doing. And the paid ad strategy is the YouTube discovery in feed ads. And so I think most people are familiar with YouTube pre-roll ads, things like that, where you've got an ad and it's running before the video. That's not what I'm talking about here. And I'm not saying that those aren't effective, but that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here are in-feed ads. And so these are essentially the equivalent, if you're familiar with a boosted post on, Facebook or Instagram, on the Meta platform, it's essentially you have YouTube videos on your channel and you're paying to make sure that they get found. It really is as simple as that. They're going to get found in the search results. They're going to get found in what's next. They're going to get found in the home feed. Now there's a tiny little sponsored thing there, but it's practically invisible because this is YouTube, which is owned by Google. And if there's one thing that Google's gotten really good at, it's hiding their ads. Okay. So with YouTube in-feed discovery ads, what you're essentially doing is you are spending money to hijack the algorithm to make sure that your videos actually get seen by the people that you want to see it. It's as simple as that. Now, a couple things to make this strategy work. Number one, the videos actually need to be good, okay? Because you're paying to make sure that your videos get discovered. But if your videos suck, okay, all you're doing is amplifying garbage. So you must have good videos. And I'm happy to kind of share some metrics around what we consider to be a good video, because in the beginning this didn't work because I was just saying like, yeah, let's amplify all this content. A lot of the content wasn't any good. So you don't want to do that. Number two, the goal is to get them to not just watch that one video, but to watch a second video. So what we're really optimizing for here is earned views. And YouTube tells you what your earned views are. And earned views is when they watch that second video. And the great thing is you didn't pay for that. And so I mentioned earlier, this strategy is actually getting less expensive from a cost per lead perspective. That's because there's people who will watch one video because they clicked on one of our in-feed ads. Then they watch another one. Then they subscribe to the channel. Then they watch more and more and more. And over time, if they didn't become a lead the first time after video number one, well, they might after video 6, 7, 8. And so it actually does get better as they binge more and more content. So that's the broad kind of strategy. I can get into the tactics around kind of what types of videos to put up there, and that whole thing and the metrics around it. But I'll just kind of stop there and you can tell me what direction you want to take it.
Number one, I love this. And then it sounds like, okay, step one, make good videos. But what you're saying is it doesn't matter if you have a week off because, I don't know, you have a life and you don't pump out a YouTube video because you've got all these like ads running, the sponsored, in the discovery feed ads, whatever, like that's still doing the heavy lifting. We're not relying on this hamster wheel of content all of the time. So yeah, I'll take 10. And then the next thing is then, if you got to make good videos, I imagine that you've tested what types of videos are performing better on sponsored. So do you have a bit of a guideline on the types of videos that we can create to make this work the best?
So in terms of the types of videos, it really is going to depend on your market. And so I have found that for me, the types of videos that perform the best are when I'm doing some type of screen capture component and it just looks more organic. So if it's just a pure head-on video, that doesn't perform as well as when I've actually just posted videos of me teaching on a stage. And so people have said like, but that's not the classic YouTube video. But for my audience, that seems to work better. So you've got to look and see. And all I simply was doing was saying, what are the videos that are performing the best right now for other creators that I would like to emulate organically? So if it's working really well for other creators in my space organically, then I should probably be producing videos with that type of packaging around them. And that is going to differ. I don't believe it's the same, across the board. But I think you're looking at what's working organically to decide what that should be. But what we found that to know if it's a good video is you want to watch rate at the 30-second mark at 50% or better. So if at the 30-second mark, if 70% of the people have bailed out, you don't really have a good enough hook. And you're going to pay to amplify a video that only 25% of the people are going to watch It's like sending people to a landing page with a high bounce rate, a crappy headline, right? This is all stuff that we know as marketers. We're just simply applying it to the video. So we want a watch rate at the 30-second mark of 50% or better, and we like the average percentage viewed to be 15% or better. So average percent viewed of the video. That is the metrics that we generally looked at to say, okay, this is a video that is worthy of amplification. Now, one thing I want to say about this, I've had some videos that just sort of went viral on their own, right? So I had one video that we posted it and it just went. Like, it just kind of took off. I don't know why. The algorithm liked it, showed it some people, they did, and it got traction. And I'm sure you've experienced this. You've had some videos that did well and other videos that didn't. If you have a video that is getting traction, do not, I repeat, do not put any type of ad behind it. The second that you put an ad behind it, you will effectively kill any organic reach that video is going to have. So think about these videos that you're posting as almost lambs to slaughter a little bit. So the videos that you're putting up there, they need to be great, but they're not necessarily the videos that go viral or that you would expect to go viral. So that's just a couple things I'll say in terms of video quality. There are also people who have told me, Ryan, the second that you start advertising in your channel, YouTube is less likely to have some of your other videos go viral. I've talked to plenty of other people. Nobody can really confirm that. I'm not sure that that's true. I've still had plenty of videos that have done really well organically post this strategy. I'd say if you're worried about that, and if you have a channel that's doing well, launch a second channel and do this strategy in that. So you essentially have your organic channel and you have your paid channel, and you can make them look identical. You can have the same header, slightly different name. You don't really care about the number of subs or anything like that because you're primarily doing it for lead generation efforts.
It's very interesting. And so step 1, make a good video. Step 2, look at the data. And then the types of videos that we use, which might help people to like categorize. It's like you can do face to camera, which is kind of like this. You're just sitting there. You can do screen share. You can do like walking through a Google Doc. I think a lot of people look at Mr. Beast videos or even like Alex Hormozy videos sometimes, and they think that they need to make these crazy overproduced videos. But what I'm seeing is the pendulum swinging on YouTube back the other way. And there's people like, if you've seen Sam Salek, he's this huge bodybuilder. Have you seen him? And he is blowing up viral, millions and millions of views. And he just puts a phone in his trolley, walking around buying his protein or at the gym. And you can hardly hear him on half his videos because I think people are craving that more realness anyway. And people in our industry are used to shopping, looking, learning with those sorts of things. So there's no friction. And it's interesting, right? Because in my content journey, a big lesson learned has been not to optimize for the ego. Like, I'm optimizing for money. I'm not trying to make AdSense money. I'm not trying to go viral. I'm trying to bring in leads and clients. And when you have that frame, you actually make different types of content. Because sometimes my content will get, let's say, 2,000, 3,000 views. My top of funnel stuff might be way more. But it's that stuff, that middle of funnel and bottom of funnel, that actually brings me in leads and makes me money. So for you, make a good video, review the data. Don't ruin any videos that are going well organically. Potentially have another channel. On your videos, so that you get more earned views, what call to action do you have? Are you pushing them to a playlist so that they pump through a playlist?
Yeah, so every single one of these videos should be in its own playlist.
Yeah.
And so the way that we orient this is I have one primary pillar content video. So there is one sort of master overarching video that I refer to as my pillar content video. And this is the one video that I wish more than anything everybody saw before they talked to a salesperson or went to my sales page. And so this is the question that you need to ask yourself. What is the one video you wish everybody saw before they talked to a salesperson? I mean, if you think about this in like dating terms, this is your wingman or your wing girl, right? This is the person that's going out in front of you and like hyping you up and saying all these great things about you and your brand, which can be you, by the way. So if you've got a killer webinar, for example, or a great keynote talk, there's a good chance that that content doesn't actually exist anywhere just out in the open. When I've worked with a lot of, whether they're creators or any type of content producer, thought leader, and definitely when you get into just kind of like the normal average day-to-day business, like they don't have this stuff out there. Like it's not out there. It's gated behind something. You got to register for the webinar. You had to have seen the CEO give that one particular keynote presentation, or hear them when they told their origin story. But every brand has this one thing that they wish everybody saw. Maybe it's a clip when they were featured on some incredibly impressive TV show or something like that. There's always something. If you dig deep enough, there's always something that every brand wishes everyone saw right before. So we want to know what that is, and we want to pluck that out and highlight it. So for me, for my channel, it was a webinar. That was also my primary keynote presentation. Unfortunately, unless you happen to attend an event where I was giving this keynote, or registered and actually attended a webinar, which, what are webinar attendance rates now? 35, 40% if you're crushing it, which meant the vast majority of the people in my ecosystem had never seen this content. So what I did is I turned that into a PDF or into a Google Doc, into a print document. And the very first version of my pillar content video was literally me just reading a Google Doc on Loom. That's how sexy this was. Okay. Now we've since gone back and added some additional B-roll and post-production to kind of, make it a little more, consumable, but it's 120 minutes long. Now, everybody will tell you that's way too long for YouTube. But here's the deal with that pillar content video. I don't want it to be the first video anybody sees. It may not be the second, but I'd love for it to be the third or the fourth. So you want one piece of pillar content, that's the featured video on your channel. Then what we're going to ask is, okay, what are 5 to 7 to 10 pieces of splinter content that would come off of this? So whatever you're talking about, there's probably, 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 subtopics of that main bigger pillar content that would stand alone. So let's create a video on each and every one of those. So that's what goes in the same playlist. So we're going to do that. We're going to just put one of them up a week. So if you come up with 10 that you have, great. You've got essentially your first 11 weeks, right? Because your pillar content goes up first. Nobody's going to see it. That's okay. Then you put your first one. We're going to post it up there. We're going to see if anything happens to it, right? Probably nothing will happen to it. That's fine. We'll put up the second one. We'll put up the third one. And the first 30 days, just let it go. Just see if we can get sort of any organic vibe going, at all. Let's try to see if we can get some things going there to find out, is this a good video? Does it hit that 50% after 30-second threshold, 15% view rate? Like, let's give it some time organically. And then after you've got a few videos up there, at the end of every single one of these videos, we're going to say if there's a relevant lead magnet or download, we'll definitely tell people about that. But in every single one of these videos, I'm essentially saying like, hey, so if you want to learn more about this, you should watch my main video on this subject. And they're always linking back to the pillar content. So the goal of all of these videos is to link back to the pillar content. And then the pillar content, the job of that is to get people to book a meeting. So that's where we're getting leads really from two places, from people opting in to relevant lead magnets, which is more middle of funnel leads, and then people booking meetings, which is obviously bottom of funnel leads. But that's awesome. The basic flow. And then it's just keep the machine going. You got your first 10, keep doing them one a week, except when you don't want to.
I love that. When I don't want to could be often though. So sometimes I have to force myself to do the YouTube videos. So we have our main featured video, which might be a talk. It might just be transcribing that talk into a document and reading from the document, right? It might be something that's gone really well before, but in any case, it's what do I want somebody to watch before they speak to us. And
It
this
could
is something
be
that
a
we can.
recording of a keynote talk you've already given. I mean, in retrospect, I went, sorry to cut you off, but I want to make
fine.
this point because people have emulated what I did, and what I did was actually kind of stupid. So I just want to make sure that I clarify this, because I took a perfectly good keynote talk that I had given a dozen times that had been recorded. It was out there. It was recorded. I could have just posted the recording. It was also existed in webinar form. That's been recorded. I could have just posted a recording of the webinar. It would have been great. And instead, what I did is I had that transcribed, and then I personally went in and, because I'm freaking anal about this stuff, and I turned the transcript into this 54-page manifesto, right? That I then proceeded to read as the video. Alicia, it already existed in video form. So I took it from a video into a print document just so I could read the print document and make that a video. That was kind of stupid. Okay, so I just want to make that point very, very, very clear, because I don't want anybody to think that that's like the best process. Now, the nice thing about it is what it gave me was I was able to say, as the lead magnet for that, hey, if you want the print version of this manifesto, opt in for that. So I got a lead magnet out of it. But still, if I had it to do all over again, it would have been a lot faster just to put the content I already had. Sorry, keep going.
That's okay. I have a question on this side quest. Have you tested the pre-recorded keynote versus the Google Doc to see if you in fact made a dumb decision, or if you just intuitively actually did make the right decision?
I haven't tested it because what I did worked. And so if something works, I usually don't, I test broken stuff. Here's why though. I think I'll tell you why I wanted to do the manifesto version. One, I wanted it to be more scripted. I wanted it to be a bit more polished, because I felt like it needed that for YouTube. I now don't actually believe that's true, especially since some of my better performing videos are just me up on stage teaching stuff. And funny enough, you mentioned Alex Hormozi. He and I were talking about this. He's now gone back to doing more videos of him just on stage teaching stuff, way more unpolished. And I totally agree with what you said. I think right now, you either want unpolished, gritty, authentic, or you want super heavily Mr. Beast produced. I think death is if you're caught in the middle. You got to be really careful about getting caught in the middle. So I haven't tested it, but there was that aspect where I want it to be scripted. But I do think there's something to watching somebody read words on screen. And this goes all the way back to the old school video sales letters.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
that we all used to do, where it's follow the bouncing ball. There's something a bit hypnotic of, I'm listening to somebody reading the words and then I'm seeing them read the words. I do think there's probably something to that, but that's just, kind of my intuition and assumption based on past experience. I didn't test it.
Did you literally just read the document word for word, or did you read something and then unpack it a bit more ad hoc off script, or was it just literally, you would have delivered it great, but was it just literally reading through the document?
It was literally, I mean, if I went off script, it would have just been a sentence or two. I think at one point I realized I had had an unfinished paragraph. And so I kind of finished and had to do that, like that little bit. Now, if you go and watch the video, that's been replaced with B-roll. So you can't see that it's but in the original one, it was clear that I just didn't finish that in the manuscript. But no, it's literally just me reading it. Now, I'm good at reading from a teleprompter, and that it's something that I've practiced. And that's why I would say to anybody who's wanting to attempt this strategy, don't feel like you have to do what I did in terms of creating a written version and reading it. Because if you're not good at reading words on a screen, just get the content out in whatever video you're going to be the best at delivering. Whatever format, you're going to be the best at delivering.
I think as well, when we make mistakes, we all know this, it makes us human. It's like that Prattful effect, right? So because you've already got charisma is warmth and competence. And so as long as you've proved that competence, sometimes when I used to write a lot of VSL and webinar scripts, we would sometimes put mistakes in on purpose to build the warmth and to build that charisma with people anyway. So I think a lot of people think they need to be perfect and polished and right, but you actually just need to be a human. and that's what people are looking for, and then that's what makes the connections. So my brain can understand this. We have the featured video. That's our main video. From that, we have our pillar videos that are all connected to this in some way, but they're probably going to, I imagine they start the conversation in different ways, right? Whether it's stages of the buyer's journey or different pain points or different gain points, whatever. We're strategically thinking about those. We only run ads to the ones that do well or that don't do well. If they're doing well organically, we let them do their thing. Or is it because you've already predetermined those videos? That's the one that you put the ad budget behind.
You put the ad budget behind the ones that are doing well from a viewership perspective, but they don't go viral. So they need to do well enough that people are watching them, but perhaps the audience isn't as large as the algorithm thinks that it should be. Right. So maybe it doesn't have the mass broad appeal. So we do still want to see that the people who are watching it, they're liking it, they're consuming it. But it just isn't getting the viral oomph push. So we'll put it behind those. But this is important. We don't put any ad spend behind the main pillar content video. Because again, I want that to be the third or fourth video they watch, not the first. Because it is it's a big one, right? I mean, that's not, hey, let's meet for coffee, let's go grab lunch. I mean, that's like going away for a weekend kind of thing. So it's a bigger commitment. So I want to make sure that they've consumed some of the other pieces of content first. And those are typically, 7, 10, 15 minute, your more traditional YouTube video length for the, the 5 to 7 to 10 videos that are all essentially sub videos of the main pillar that all link back up to this. And one thing I didn't mention, it's your description that's doing all the heavy lifting. So you're saying you're having a call to action at the end of the video, but it really is the description underneath the video where you're linking off to all of your other things. And typically we're linking off to a relevant lead magnet if we have one, and we're linking off to the pillar content video. And then we might have another one in there that's a, if you want to work, with us, kind of, here's where you can do that. So we'll typically have 3 calls to action in the description.
Cool. I want to unpack that and the funnel in a second. First, I want to talk about the word viral because that will be different per channel, right? And so when I'm doing YouTube, I'll look in the back end because you'll always get a ranking, like how your video is performing against the last 10 videos. So if it's performing 1 of 10, damn, I've got a viral video for my channel going on here. But if it's 9 or 10 or not even ranking, that's not very good. So is that how you think about it as well? It's like not viral. And I just want to clarify that because I think some people think Mr. Beast viral, not like it's channel specific and sometimes viral for you. And this used to be it for me. Like, oh my gosh, I got 100 views in the first week. That was like my viral.
Nailed it. Yeah, it's relative to your channel. Do not compare your results to even other people in your space because they've likely been at it much longer. So you can look at other channels in your space for inspiration in terms of topics and, video packaging formats, titles and thumbnails and things like that. But don't look at them to determine view count to say like, oh, this is good. Yeah, viral is a stupid word that I probably shouldn't be using. I just don't have a better one. But yes, if it's a video that is doing well in proportion to your other videos, this is something that clearly the algorithm is deciding to expose it to a new audience. If the YouTube algorithm is deciding that your video is worthy of exposing to a broader audience than some of your other ones, you want to just let it do that. Let it do its thing. Because it's essentially doing the same thing that the in-feed discovery ads are going to do, but it's doing it for free. So just let it do it. Let it do its thing. But after, a couple of weeks, if it's clear that, okay, this video isn't really getting some traction, then that's where we'll put some spend behind it. You don't need to put spend behind every single video you produce. You don't need to do that. I think at this point on our channel right now, we only have spend behind 5 or 6 maybe. So you don't need to put it behind all of them. You really only need to put it behind the ones that have good, solid view through rate, but that just didn't get the traction that you necessarily needed them to get on their own. And you said something earlier. Oftentimes the video content, the videos that get the most reach are not the videos that attract our people. So it's that top of funnel content has the chance of going the broadest, but it's also not necessarily going to bring in the most people. So oftentimes what I want to amplify is the middle of funnel stuff, the bottom of funnel stuff that's going to get the people who are further down the buyer's journey, further down the pipeline. And so I want them to see it. So I'm willing to pay for those people to be exposed to, to my middle of funnel content video. So oftentimes you'll have a great video. It just won't get the distribution because it's not relevant to as many people. That's okay. I'll pay to have it pushed out to more.
Which is just like ads, right? Like Facebook
Exactly.
ads. That's all
It's
it is.
an
It's
ad.
like you're trying to find a niche. And as you said earlier, and I had this when I started my content journey, because I'm direct response marketer. Like Dan Kennedy is my blood type, like direct response is my love language. And it took me a while for my brain to go, no, it's the same human psychology and persuasion triggers. It's just a different media. That's all it is. And it's like, if you understand marketing, it's just putting it and making it work here. So what do you think about this? My channel is Alicia Conlon Hurd. That's my name. And it has about 20K subs. But one of our main markets we go after are finance. So at an ad level on Meta ads, we have finance specific funnels to find people in the finance industry. I'm thinking, is there any danger if I'm, because you said like, some people have said that there's dangers in running ads to your organic channel or something going on there. I wonder if I should make like Alicia Finance Leads or something and have a like niche to that, just like how I think about my Facebook ads, and then just pump out like finance videos on that channel and pump out ad spend on that channel, but keep my other one untainted by ads. Or do you think it doesn't matter?
I think if you're worried about it at all, go ahead and launch another channel. What you're losing on that is any video that you post, it's not going to go as viral because it's not going to be seen by your current audience. So if you post something on there, just think about it as a pure ad. But we don't want these to be pure ads, right? We want to post good stuff. So to me, that's kind of the rub. It's why I don't love the multi-channel model as much. I'm kind of the mindset of like, I'm just going to give my people what I think is good. And you know what? I'm going to let the algorithms do their thing because they change all the time anyway. Today, they could be penalizing you in your channel if you buy ads. I don't understand why. What nobody can explain to me is why YouTube and Google would be incentivized to do that. Like, why would they be incentivized to kind of penalize you channel wide if you invest in advertising? I don't really get that as much. And I guess it wouldn't be a penalty. It's just, oh, this person's spending money, so like no need to give them any extra juice. But I don't know. It just seems like an odd thing for them to put in. So I don't buy into it as much, but enough smart people have told me that they've seen some signs that I just feel like it's important to disclaim. With that being said, I don't like the idea of having good content here and good content there. So I think it makes sense if you want to produce truly niche content that isn't appropriate on this channel, and to say, over here, I'm going to talk about finance stuff. And maybe that's not appropriate to have on the pure marketing channel. So over here, I want to do finance stuff, but it's related to marketing. So I'm going to create a dedicated channel, but it's so niche that I would never expect this to get any traction anyway. And so who cares if it doesn't? And you can still cross promote, and you can, YouTube does allow and facilitate, videos to show up in shared channels and stuff like that. But I wouldn't do it just for the sake of the ad piece.
Makes sense.
But I know lots of people who do. And they literally it's the exact same channel. It's just, they'll put like a Z or a question mark or something like at the end of their name, at the end of their channel name. It's the exact same thing. They look identical. It's just on this one, they put their ad stuff.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to test. The only reason I can think, excuse me, that YouTube would penalize ads is that, I don't know if you saw, but they've made a big push in their algorithm for smaller creators. So at the moment, every time you scroll, like every fifth video or something has somebody that has maybe 20 views, 100 views. And so they're trying to push for these creators. The caveat to that is we're business owners. We're not creators starting to talk about our gaming channels or gardening, and we're hoping to maybe sell a $17 product on the back end, and we're hoping for AdSense, and me and Google need to work together because that's the symbiotic relationship through the AdSense, right? Like, we're trying to take advantage of a channel to make money. So that's where, what are you optimizing for, and how are you going to make your decisions on that channel, right?
And that's the way that I've always approached it. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a creator. I'm a business person leveraging YouTube as a channel. And so I'm not talent. I'm an advertiser. It's really, to me, it's as simple as that. So I'm a spokesperson for the brand, so I will gladly joyfully create content. I will do that. I don't believe that's a reduction in status at all. But I'm happy to pay to have that content amplified because my business model is fundamentally different than all the other creators out there. And you mentioned, today YouTube is amplifying small creators. Well, I know enough about these channels, and you've been around long enough too, to know that tomorrow that'll be different. Like, they're just changing stuff all the time. And so to make a strategic decision based on what their algorithm is today, I've just seen so many times that not pay off. I just ask the question, what's the best thing for my audience? I'm going to do the best thing, for the audience. And for me, the best thing for the audience is just putting it all in one channel. If there's a video that I feel like is worthy of amplification, I'm going to amplify it. And if for some reason that hurts me organically down the road, it's a price I'm willing to pay because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a creator. I'm happy to always pay a little bit to earn a lot. Because I don't make my money off of sponsorships and views and ad share and stuff like that. But if the best thing for your audience is to have a channel that's dedicated for finance, oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. That makes sense.
I would personally prefer to not have another channel because I feel like it's more noise. Like, it's just like starting to splinter, and it creates complication in what I'm doing, right? Like, just like to simplify things. So I'll test it out and I will let you know. And you've mentioned the algorithm a few times. And number one, these companies are businesses. They want to make money. And pretty much all roads usually lead to pay to play. That's where all roads on these platforms usually end up there, right? Or the algorithm is just people. Their algorithm is just, how can I keep people on my platform to watch ads so I make money? So if you're making good content that keeps people watching to watch more ads, like, that's hacking the algorithm. That's all you need to be doing. So we make the video, we analyze the data, we choose which ones to promote. We never promote our featured video. That's the one that they should see 3 or 4 times when we take them out for a weekend and wine and dine them. We have maybe 5 to 7 pillar videos. You have 5 or 6 running with ads at any point in time. Now let's get into the calls to actions and the funnels, because even the videos, just like having an ad on Meta, they simply get the click, right? And it's everything that's going to happen after that click that's truly getting you those low CPLs, etc. It's the video warms them up, but then it's all of these touch points afterwards. So take us back to those CTAs and what happens after you click those CTAs.
So there are 3 things that you could really do at the end of a video. You could tell them to watch another video. You could tell them to download a relevant resource, like go somewhere to access a relevant resource, or you could tell them to check the description to find out how to work with you, like have a more direct call to action, or check the description to figure out, buy your product or sign up for something, basically a more direct sales type piece. My rule is really, really simple on this. I'm going to make whatever call to action is going to be most relevant to the video. So I've just found if it's contrived, it just really doesn't work. So if I have a lead magnet that is relevant to the video, then I'm going to reference the lead magnet because it's of value to mention it. So for the Scalable company, we've got a lead magnet that is the CEO scorecard. It's a spreadsheet template that you can download in. You can, put in all your metrics, and as a CEO, it'll show you how your different departments are doing and things like that. It's one of our highest converting lead magnets. It's been running for years. It's our control. So I created a YouTube video on how to create a CEO dashboard. It's our best performing video. Well, obviously at the end of that, I said, cool. Now that you know how to produce it, I'm going to just give you my template. Check out a link in the description to go and get that. So that, to me, that's obvious. Now, if I didn't have that, then what I would want to do is say, what is the next relevant video, right? What is the most relevant thing for them to watch? The most relevant thing for them to watch could be another sub video, but more times than not, the most relevant thing for them to watch is my main pillar content video. Because again, all roads lead to that. Because at least for the first 7 to 10 videos that you make, they're going to be derivatives of that. So usually what I'm saying is go watch that video. Check the link in the description to watch this video. So it's either go access a resource, which is going to generate a lead, or go watch my pillar content video. Then what I'll say more times than not is, and if you want information on, what it's like to work with us and get help implementing this thing I just talked about, check the link in the description to figure out how to work with us. Typical direct response, and you know this as well or better than anybody, they would say only ever make one call to action. When it comes to this stuff, I'll throw out 2 or 3. I don't really care, right? Because this is a far more passive form of marketing, right? We really are doing a lot of branding here. And I define branding as making deposits of relational equity. So I want them to know the options that are available to them. And I genuinely want them to go and do the thing that they want to go and do. Because if they're not ready to do business with me yet, I don't want them to fill out a form. I want them to go watch on their video. Because the thing that we've seen more than anything else that accelerates the sales cycle is content binging. If you want to accelerate the sales cycle in an appropriate way, you can do it through scarcity. You can do it through, outrageous discounts. You can do it through, banging people over the head with hyper aggressive messaging that's going to degrade your brand and create a lot of refunds down the road. These are not all things that I would recommend, but they will shorten the sales cycle. The only thing I've seen that will shorten the sales cycle while also improving your brand and getting you better customers is content binging. Getting people to consume more content. And YouTube is the ultimate content binge factory. So I'm happy for them to go and watch on the video. But if they're ready to do business, I want them to know that there's an option for that as well. So it's usually 2 calls to action. Go get this thing, go watch this video, or let's do business.
Awesome. In a second, I'm going to ask you about what does it look like on the page, assuming you have a page for the work with us, like what is the structure of that page? But going back to the content binging, that also makes you favorable for the YouTube algorithm, right? Because it shows the algorithm that you're watching more. The other thing is, we know that, I don't know if this is still the correct stat, but it's like 70 to 80% of the purchase decision for B2B is done before the sales call. So our goal is not to generate leads. And this is what I have to remind all of our clients, because we only do lead gen, right, on ads. It's like the goal is to bring in qualified buyers. So we're not trying to get, as you just said, everybody to fill in a form and get on there. That's like very first order thinking. And this is where YouTube's so great, because I think in lead gen, there's harvesting for now and planting seeds for later. And you're just creating your own pipeline because you never know who's watching. So now that I've been doing YouTube for maybe a year and a half, now I'm having people like, oh, I've been following you for a year. And it's like, I didn't even know that you existed. But I also have some people who go, I'm working with an agency. I was really sick of them. I started looking up landing pages on YouTube. I watched all of your videos on the weekend and I know I need this, this, and this. I'm ready to go. Right? Like that's the power for it. And for us, YouTube, the leads are even better than referral. And referral leads, I'm not saying my referral leads suck. I'm just saying that by the time that somebody's watched 2 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours of me ethically brainwashing them to understand how you actually scale ads, and it's not just spending more on ads, it's that post-click experience with good video ads, they're ready, right? Okay, so that's the content binging. That's the B2B.
Yeah, just on that, my salespeople would tell you, give them leads that were generated from YouTube, like all day. We have way less control over the quote unquote quality of the leads than we do from other sources, because there's a lot more organic. So people come in, for example, from regions that we can't even serve, because in general, we only work with businesses that are in North America, a little bit from the UK. That's typically our area, but we'll have folks show up from all over the world. And even with that issue in place, they would still rather have somebody, because they know if they hear it's like, hey, how'd you hear about it? It's like, oh, same thing. And it's one of two things. It's, yeah, I've been, following, watching, Ryan's stuff for, on YouTube videos now for a couple months, or I watched the $200 million operating system case study video, which is my pillar content video. If they hear that, that is way better than I heard about you from Bob. Because a referral is great, but they haven't been pre-educated. The salesperson still has to do a lot to make them problem aware, solution aware, product aware. These people are showing up pre-sold. Like pre-sold. They're like, just tell me what the thing is called and how much it costs. I'm ready to buy.
Yeah, and it's my team have jokingly said they're like pizza order takers. And their job isn't even to qualify now, it's to disqualify. But that's the job of good marketing, is it makes sales superfluous, unnecessary. Like, it shouldn't feel like, if my team feels like they have to hardcore close, instead what they're doing is, well, why should you work with us? This is what we do. Like, why do you think it's a good fit for your company? And it totally shifts the frame of that sales process for YouTube leads. One only other thing that I've contemplated testing for call to action, I forget what his name is, but the guy that created Patreon, and I've been watching some of his content about like the death of the creator, and he's saying that subscriber count is going to become less and less relevant because social media used to be a discovery platform. Now the algorithm pushes the discovery. It's not who you actually follow. And I've been toying with this. I wonder if I should start having like a mid-roll thing where it's like, share my content. Hey, if you can just do me a favor, stop asking for a subscriber. Can you share this with one person in your network? Share it on Slack to your team. Send this to your boss. Put it in a Facebook group that you're in. Like, my job is to make bigger impact. Can you just go and share this with one other person? And so that's the only difference I'm thinking about making into my call to actions, is stop asking for a subscriber. People know to do that. They're going to subscribe if they want to, but start asking them to share and helping to make an impact.
Yeah, I never ask them to subscribe.
Yeah.
Same thing. Everybody, they know to do it or not. You're worthy of a subscriber or not. Nobody at this point is showing up to YouTube wondering like, how do I do this? How does this thing work? Everybody knows exactly how it works. Typically, if people watch, if they watch 2 or 3 of your videos, they're gonna subscribe. And so that's the thing that I'm most interested in. Even in terms of a share, what I want them to do is live in their little world, and I just want them to binge. Just consume, just go, 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 go. So I'd be slow to even take them out of this world and have them think, well, who do I want to share this with? I'm kind of like, just stay in your little world, friend. Stay in your world, keep consuming. When you're ready, we're here for you. That's the only thing that I'm thinking. I don't want to break their thought train at all beyond just like, give me more, give me more, give me more. These are, potato chips or, crisps for
yes.
UK Australian friends.
Yes. We're aware across
I just want to keep going.
And this is, I had, I don't know if you know Marley Jacks. She's kind of from like the ClickFunnels world, but she's really good at YouTube. And I had her on, and she was talking about like kind of like making the sequel of your video, right? So thinking of it kind of like Netflix, when you launch the video, look at the questions that someone has, make the sequel, or try and think in advance so that they're just watching. Because I think Netflix or whoever said something like this, and everyone's like, oh, no one has any attention spans anymore. But they do. People sit there and watch Stranger Things for 8 hours on a Saturday, or maybe on a work day if they're meant to be working. So they do. Your content just has to like earn the right, earn them actually spending time watching it. Okay, next question is...
real quick. Attention spans didn't change, options did.
Yes, exactly.
It is such a cop-out as marketers, as content creators to say, attention spans changed. Screw that. Attention spans didn't change, options did. They have options to get really great content very, very quickly. So if you want to produce longer content, make it amazing, or figure out how to tighten it up. Attention spans didn't change, options did.
And it's the same with ads, it's the same with content. Just because you half-heartedly put some shit together and launch ads or launch a YouTube video, you don't deserve money, or you don't deserve people's attention, right? But that's what so many people do, and they're very disillusioned. Like, well, I ticked the box, I did it, and it doesn't work. And it's like, no, you were bad at that. You were very, very bad, and you executed very, very poorly. And this is like something that I talk about to our clients a lot, or like when we're training team. It's like, it just comes back to target market value. Like, what do they find valuable? And if you have that at the heart of every single decision that you make and I would have just learned this from you, like when I was a baby marketer, and I think I was telling you this in the mastermind, like your courses were like the first courses I ever did in digital marketing. And I would have learned it then, and I've learned it by studying direct response, and I've learned it through years of trauma doing marketing. As soon as you lose sight of who the target market is and what they actually find valuable and what will change their life and leave them more valuable than how you found them, no marketing will work at all.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay, I didn't want to go to a next question in case you wanted to jump in. Okay, now, officially, next question. I'm very interested in this. That is, what does your page look like for the do you want to work with us? Paint us a picture. Yeah.
It's just the most simple, boring landing page ever. It literally is just, so there's two versions of it, depending on where they came from. We've got one version, if they come from the manifesto, that it's, do you want to license our $200 million operating system? So it's a dead-on reference to what they saw. And there's like a picture of the thing that they saw. So we want to make sure that we're carrying over any imagery that they saw in the previous place onto that landing page. And it's just a basic HubSpot form. So you're talking about headline, you're talking about an image of the thing that they saw, and you're talking about, I don't even think there's bullet points. I think there's just a sub-headline and then a form. That's it. Because the only people who should be seeing that are people who have been pre-educated and pre-informed. That's it. So there's that one version of the people who first watched the pillar content. Then we have a second version of the form that is just a general, if you're interested in working with us, that's sign up for a roadmap call, is what we call it. People call them discovery calls, strategy sessions. We call ours a scalable roadmap call. And same thing, it's register for a 30-minute. I mean, you go to basically any SaaS site, look at their demo. It is the same thing. We're not creative at all on that because we did a bunch of tests and nothing moved the freaking needle. The only thing that moves the needle is the quality of the human being that you put on that page. If they're ready to work with you, they'll fill it out. And if they're not, they won't. So this is not intended to be a hard-hitting, top-of-funnel landing page. It really is about as bottom of funnel as it gets. So we're, funny enough, not trying to optimize. We're not trying to oversell it. We're not trying to make it into anything more than it is. We don't promise if you sign up for the roadmap session that you're going to leave with tons of value. It's like, it pretty much sounds like you're signing up for a sales meeting because you are. And so that's what we're interested in, in doing at that point, because to your point, and I think that it was John E. Kennedy that actually said that, not to be confused with John F. Kennedy, but John E. Kennedy, the former admin, who said the job of marketing is to make selling superfluous. And so we see it that way. And the sales handoff from marketing to sales happens on that form. When somebody fills that out, that is when the opportunity is created and it is effectively handed off from marketing to sales. So marketing better be handing off a sales-ready lead. So that's why that's not, at that point, it's considered a prospect. If we're sending them over to download a resource or something like that, that's still marketing. So just to be clear, leads versus prospects. Leads are just somebody's opting in, name, email address, we got permission to follow up. We know they're interested in a resource, but we don't necessarily know that they have any level of solution awareness, solution category awareness. A prospect is someone who we know that they've identified, that they have a problem that we can solve, and they have some degree of solution awareness, and they are looking for us to help resolve their problem with this solution. And so that's like one of the questions is, are you interested in working with us to build and install an operating system in your business? They have to check that, because if they're not, why are we talking? That's literally the only thing we do. So.
And just so everyone thinks about what's the psychology behind this? So they've just watched a bunch of videos and it's using that power of demonstration. You've just shown them, hey, this is maybe where you are now. This is like the dream outcome that we provide you, and this is how this pillar, or what I show in the featured pillar is a vehicle from A to B, and then you show them how it's done, and then they think, oh, I want that, or I'm going to learn more about this person. I don't trust this random on the internet, right? Because that's all it is. It's like we're just crafting these journeys and these steps. And so the first thing is, just to read back what you were saying, one is understand the temperature of traffic. It's not like Facebook ads where you need to write a long landing page or sales page to convince them. The heavy lifting was just done in the video. So that's number one. Number two, which I think is interesting that you're doing that I don't think many people do on YouTube, you're using the same thought process on ads where you're making what was promised in the click or shown in the click congruent with the post-click experience. So you're doing that through imagery, probably through color, language, words, headlines, etc. For me personally, I'm sure that's very easy, but because we have a much smaller marketing team than you, I'm thinking, I wonder if it's worth the resources, but I'm pretty sure I could bang up a template where my team can very easily change an image and a headline. And also then you probably get better tracking, right? Like which video, that's a question mark, but
we only
do you get better
that
tracking?
from the pillar content video.
Yeah, okay, that's the only place that appears.
Yeah, so that's the only place that we do it from. Because again, all the sub videos are either linking off to the pillar content video, they're linking off to a relevant resource, which 9 times out of 10 we don't have one, so there isn't that call to action, or they're linking off to just the generic one, the generic landing page that doesn't have a picture on it. So the only one that has a picture on it is the one if they're coming from the pillar content. And obviously, the leads that come through that page convert at a higher rate than the leads that just come through the, hey, I want to learn more about you. They're still bottom of funnel, but the people that watch that pillar content video do tend to convert at a higher rate. They're the A+ leads as opposed to just the A leads.
And then the next thing that you mentioned is the offer. You don't have to oversell it. And I think what a lot of people get wrong is that they need to know that the offer is just the next step someone takes, right? So we're not looking for this big knockout punch, or as you would say, trying to get them to marry you on the first date. We're just trying to get them to take the next step in our funnel. That's always the offer. So your lead magnet higher in the stages of awareness is an offer, because that's the next step for them to take with you. It wouldn't make sense for them to do a lead generation offer. And then the sales offer is what gets presented on the sales call. And then as well, just so everybody knows, because not enough people have read breakthrough advertising, which means not enough people understand the stages of awareness or the levels of awareness. So I just want to make sure when you were talking about solution and problem aware, there's technically 5, but at its simplest level, it's unaware, problem aware, solution aware. And you only want to book meetings with solution aware people. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's the job of the videos to connect with people at the level of problem awareness. And so in general, all the videos that we're dealing with are connecting with a very specific problem, highlighting a specific problem and how we deal with it in a specific manner. But they're really addressing the overarching problem, which for us is you need to upgrade your business operating system. So for example, somebody thinks like, my problem is I don't have visibility in my company metrics. Like, well, here's how you get visibility in company metrics. But really, this is just one part of an overarching company operating system. And really what you need is to solve this bigger problem. And so you should go and watch the pillar content video. And so there's micro problems with micro solutions. And then there's the big macro problem with the bigger macro solutions. And so we really want it for somebody to get solution aware, but we're not going to try to make, the videos get somebody to the point of product awareness. That could happen, I suppose, in a video sales letter or on a more formal sales page if you're direct to consumer. But if you've got a sales team, that's the job of the salesperson, right? So you simply want to get them to the level of solution awareness. They've accepted that from, categorically speaking, they need an operating system. They need a media buying agency, that does this thing that you do. Like whatever category you're existing in, that ideally is differentiated in some way, you want them to believe that that is what they need. Then they talk to your team, and then that's where you set up the specific product, service, program that you offer and the pricing around that. That's the product awareness that comes after solution. So, yeah. And kind of what I was saying before, that's why you don't want to oversell. I've seen so many people talk about how, oh, you want to really position the sales meeting, the demo, as though it's like highly valuable, so more people sign up for it. That's a great way to churn through sales reps, because their close rates are going to be so low, right? Because they're basically having people show up expecting a free consult. Like, that's not what you do, okay? People should be showing up for these things, understanding what the solution is, clear on what their problem is, and saying, cool, so tell me more about your solution and how I can solve this problem. That should be the purpose of that meeting. So you don't have to oversell it. You don't have to make it seem like it's going to be the most valuable 30 minutes of their life, because it won't be, and everybody knows it, not unless they move forward.
And what we're trying to do is scoop up in-market leads. It's the same on ads as well. Whenever we run, like discovery, free coaching session, blah, 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 that's what you attract, right? That's the kind of bait you're throwing out. That's what you're going to reel back in. But when we're doing marketing, we're trying to catch, like Dan Kennedy would say, like whales. And whales isn't enterprise clients for everyone. But like, what is our version of a whale? So you have to understand, where are they in the journey and how can you take them to the next step? Because you want people pretty much like who want to buy. They just want to understand what you were saying, more about the product. What do you actually do? Not like, oh yeah, I want a free call to learn free shit, because that's going to be very hard for your sales team to turn around.
They're going to hate you, and they're going to quit, and you're going to have to keep replacing them and churning them out. And it's going to be exhausting and expensive, because the most expensive department in the world is a sales team that doesn't convert and churns out fast. It is just brutal. I think I love what Dean Jackson said. He said there, at any given moment in your audience, there are 3 types of leads. There are never leads, people who will never buy from you. You don't know why they're there. They don't know why they're there. They will never, ever, ever buy from you. There are later leads, and there are now leads. Okay? Later leads and now leads, they're fundamentally the same people. There's always some kind of triggering event that takes somebody from a later to a now lead. You just don't know who those people are. And they move in and out of the now state and go into a later state all the time. And so only about 3 to 6% of your audience is in a now state at any given time. And it's not the same 3 to 6% every day. So all we can do is stay in front of them. All we can do is stay in front of them and make them offers. And when they are ready, they'll move forward. But if you try to pull a later lead who's not in the now state forward too fast, you're just going to waste everybody's time. Best to hang out, let them nurture, let the cake bake. And as long as you stay active and in front of them, you're gonna be the person they choose when they're ready.
And just to put a bow on that, it's like, this is why you can't just do ads, because that's only scooping up in market leads, and you're not nurturing any of the people earlier in the buyer's journey, because they don't wake up one day and be like, gee whiz, like for my example, I want ads in an agency. Like literally no one wants to deal with agencies, and that's a whole other thing in of itself. But they're going to go through these buyer's journeys whether you hold their hand or not. So when you create YouTube content like this, and strategically, like you're saying, with these problems and these gain points, and you find them earlier, and then you move them to another video, and then you move them to the key pillar, you help them to figure out and identify their problem, then they start looking for a solution, then they're ready to talk to you. But that gap doesn't happen magically. It happens, and you have to sit and think, how does my market go through this? And when are they most susceptible? Like, who is most susceptible, and when should I get them on a call? Because the answer is not all the time. Anyway, just so everyone knows. Okay, now, what haven't I asked you about this funnel that you would like to share? Is there anything that you want to make sure before we wrap up that people understand, or anything that I didn't ask you today?
I tell you, I've never had the opportunity to talk about this as extensively as we did. So, going over my notes, sometimes people ask about the ad format, like how do you place the ads? It's just in the same Google Ads Manager as everything else. So the same way that you would run any other YouTube ad or any other Google ad, it's in there. Just the type is video, the subtype is video views. We're typically going to start with a $5 to $50 a day budget, kind of depending on the campaign. What I'll say is you want to turn off get more views from multi-format ads. You don't want to appear on TV screens. That's important. Okay, we don't want to appear on TV screens because TV screens don't have the description box where people can click links. So we don't want to appear on the multi-format type stuff. So if somebody's, watching you on, watching YouTube on their Apple TV or something like that, we don't want our discovery ads appearing there. If they happen to see us organically and we got that for free, freaking awesome. But we don't want to pay for that view because there's no real way for us to monetize it. So that's the only last thing I would say. Turn off and I was just looking at it, turn off get more views with multi-format ads. And I love the way they phrase it. Get more views with multi-format ads? Who doesn't want more views? You don't want more of those views. The last thing I'll say, we target a cost per view. Our goal is under 30 cents is what we target. And we really want to get a cost per earned view of under $1. What that means is, about, a little less than a third of the people who you've paid to watch the first video go on to watch a second video. We're not always there. So that's kind of like, that's not like the standard, the benchmark. You should be able to pull that off. That's our goal. Oftentimes our earned views are less. Our cost per view is less, but our earned views aren't quite there, which just tells us our content isn't quite strong enough yet. We need to keep working towards that. As we're getting better and better content, we're watching our cost per earned view go down. And so that is a sign that we're producing the kind of content that our audience wants. And it's exactly what you said. Why are we producing better content today than we were when we first got started? Well, one, because we're just getting better. Two, we're listening to our people. They're telling us the type of videos we want. You read your comments and the questions that they ask, it's going to inform videos. So as you do this more, this is one of the only channels that does that does continue to perform better and better and better again with scale. And you cannot say that about really any other ad platform.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom. As I sort of mentioned earlier in the interview conversation, that you've made a very big impact on my career as a digital marketer. And I know people like Kosim and so many other marketers that people know of and people that they don't know of. Ever since 10 years ago, I think I must have watched one of your courses. I've been in your mastermind. You've helped me get amazing opportunities. And I wanted to say thank you because you've been a big part of my career and you impact so many people. Now, if people want to find you after this, Mr. Ryan Deiss, where can they find you?
Well, if you want to talk marketing stuff, still run a little website called digitalmarketer.com. So you can go there. Where my main focus is today, I love this, by the way, because I don't talk about marketing anymore. I don't get to get into tactical stuff. I feel like I play a marketer on TV. So this was really, really fun. My day job is running the Scalable company. At the Scalable company, what we do is we help companies that are kind of stuck in that messy middle between 2 and 20 million, basically companies that are stuck at 7 figures, scale to 8 figures and beyond. That's kind of really where we're at, which is a quite small total addressable market. So if you look at my YouTube channel, which you can search for Ryan Deiss on YouTube, I'm not really talking about marketing stuff. I'm talking about business scale stuff. So if you like that, check out my YouTube channel and you can check out scalable.co. I wish I had the .com, but I don't. Scalable.co. But frankly, all my best stuff is on the YouTube channel. So probably just go there. It's free.
Ryan, thank you so much for coming on today.
Alicia, thanks so much for having me.